Hello students, today we are going to start with our first chapter, that is chapter number 3, force. All of you get ready with your books and pencil to mark the important points in this chapter. On the first page of our chapter, a picture is given. Now how should we relate this picture to the force? What concept is related to the force? We will first deal with that. What exactly is termed as force? When you look at the picture, both the sides, right side the children are pulling, the left side children are also pulling it. Now you will say, in our daily life we use the word that they are pulling each other, means they are applying the force. So there are different situations where we will pull or push the object. The moment you use the word push or pull, you will call that a force is exerted. So force is the push or pull on an object applied. Okay, on any object, when you push or pull an object, that is called as force. Let us take few examples for this. Now here is the first example. Come to the second page of this chapter. Now the child is pushing this trolley or wagon. Now when he is pushing, means a force is applied. In the next picture, the person is pushing the car. Now when we use the word push or pull, you will say that a force is applied. Think about some more example for it. Like you have opened the door or closed the door. You have pushed and pulled the handle of the door, means you have applied the force on it. Now here is an example of pulling. This person is pulling a heavy load. Okay, so the moment I use the word pull, you will say that the force has been applied. Similarly, in other examples also, wherever push or pull has been exerted on the body, anybody who will experience the push or pull, we will say the force has been applied on it. So the definition for force will be any push or pull on an object will be called as force. Now whenever the force is applied, something happened to the object. Now let us see what has happened in the following cases. When this child has applied the force on this wagon, he has pushed the wagon, what has happened? The wagon has started moving. Its state get changed. State means it was at rest earlier, but now it has started moving. In the next case also, the person has pushed, has applied the force, and the object start moving. So what we have seen, that whenever the force is applied in the following scenario, you can either change the state of the object, means the object at rest, it will start moving, or a moving object speed can be increased also. Yes, so these things are termed as effects of force, and there are many other effects of force. Let us look them one by one. Now look here, the effect of force. The first effect here is the force can move a body at rest, means the body is at rest. On applying the force, the body will start moving. So that is called as effect of the force. And reverse of it is, if your body is moving, any object which is moving, on applying the force, it can be stopped. Imagine that a child or your friend throws a ball towards you. The ball is moving, but you applied force with your hand and the ball come to rest. So that change in the state of the object is due to the effect of the force. Whenever we apply force on any object, we see certain changes. Okay, so the one change I have discussed is change in the state. What other change can be observed? That the other change can be change in the speed of the object. When you are playing cricket, the bowler is throwing the ball with some speed, but when you hit the ball with the bat, the speed of the ball changes. Yes, so we can say that on applying the force, the speed of the object can be changed. Like right now, this pencil is in my hand. Now this pencil is moving very slowly, but if I hit it very hard, it will move faster. So what we have seen, on pushing harder or pulling an object with a more force, you can change the speed of the object. Now what is the another effect of the force? We can change direction of motion. Whenever you apply force on an object, you sometimes observe that the direction can be changed. For example, you are pushing a box. When you push a box, the box, you can change its direction by changing the direction of the force. Like here I have a pencil. Yes, now this pencil was moving in this direction, but when I applied the force in this direction, the object, the motion of this pencil direction changes. When you are pedaling the cycle, while cycling, when you rotate your handle left or right, accordingly the direction of the cycle changes. So when we apply the force, we see direction of the object changes due to the force. Now for every these changes, we have to think examples for each case. Like I am giving you examples, similarly read in your book, find out more example, categorize them into different effect. For example, I can ask you, give me an example where the force can change the speed of the object. So you can say that while kicking the ball, when you kick the ball or you are playing football, you are applying force on the ball again and again and you are changing the speed. That can be the example. Similarly, if I ask you, give me an example where force has changed the direction of the motion. You can say hitting the ball with the bat. When we hit the ball with the bat, what happened? The ball direction can be changed. Yes? Now the last effect of the force is it can change the shape or size of a body. Where do we observe it? For instance, you are playing with the clay. Okay, you are pressing it. When you play with the clay, the shape of the clay changes. Yes, without applying any force, no change in shape will be occurring. Or you have a rubber band in your hand. When you stretch the rubber band, like I have with me this rubber band, when you are stretching the rubber band, what happened? A force is exerted, but what is the effect of the force? Effect of the force is change in the size of this rubber band. If I apply the force in this way, I am squeezing the rubber. What happened to the shape of this object? The shape changes. So in different scenarios, you will observe that on applying the force, a change is being seen. A change in terms of speed, a change in terms of direction, a change in terms of shape, or change in the state of the object. Object was moving, come to rest, but object was at rest, start moving. So these are the some changes when occur in a body, and you can say this happened due to force. Okay. Now next important point is that force is a vector quantity. Now we will explore this term in the later chapters, but right now you have to remember that whenever we talk about force, you first have to think about the magnitude. Magnitude means amount. Now if I ask you to push a heavy box, then you will think about first whether I alone can do it or I need help of my friend. Then you are actually calculating the amount of force. If I ask you to push a car, or push a cycle. Now in these two different cases, you are actually thinking about the amount, the magnitude of force to be exerted. Yes. Now while exerting the force, I also have to think about direction. Like I told you to move this pencil in the upward direction. Where should I apply the force? The force will be applied from the downward direction. Then only the object will be moved upward. Yes, if I told you to shift this pencil towards the left side. For shifting it left side, I have to push the pencil from this side to that side. So while applying the force, we have to think about the direction also. In what direction we are exerting force. So it is said that force is a vector quantity. Vector means something which requires both magnitude as well as direction. Yes. Now here I have shown you one example where a box is there and you are applying the force. So while applying the force, I will think about the amount of force, that is the magnitude, and think about the direction, where the direction of motion, where the object will move. Yes. So force is a quantity where I have to think about in which direction I have to move. So because direction we are thinking, this is termed as vector quantity. Now another important point is resultant or the net force. Resultant or net force word we use when there are many forces acting on the body. Now many forces when acting on the body, they might act in the same direction or they can act in the different direction. Now look at the example here. There is a box on which two forces are acting. Force 1, that is 10 Newton. Now let me tell you about this N, Newton. This Newton denoted by N is called the unit of the force. For example, when you say 10 meter, okay, distance is 10 meter. So meter is the unit of distance. Here unit of force is 10 Newton. N, capital N, shows the unit of force. Now there is another force, second force, that is F2, which is of 15 Newton. Both are acting in the same direction. Whenever this thing happens, that certain forces are acting in the same direction, what happens? Those forces get added. So that added force, which is the net force, which is also called as resultant force. So here the net force will be F1 plus F2 equals to 10 plus 15 equals to 25. Now what will happen if the forces act in opposite direction? Here I have shown that F1 and F2 are two forces. They are acting in different direction. F1 5 Newton, F2 20 Newton. So in this case, when they are acting in opposite direction, we have to take the difference of them. How we will take the difference? Obviously from the bigger force minus smaller force. That is 20 minus 5 makes it 15 Newton. So on this object, in total 15 Newton of force is exerted. Now a very simple question comes in our mind. What will be the direction of motion? Now direction of motion, remember, it is always in the direction of greater force. So here the greater force is 20 Newton. So the object will move in the direction of 20 Newton. So children, revise all these concepts and note down the important points. And in the next video, we will be doing some questions based on it. Thank you.